A struggling single dad opens his home to a student, not realizing she's his life-changing secret. Jack's heart raced as he stood on his front porch, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the yard. Just behind him, the remnants of a yard sale waited to be loaded back inside. The stark reminder of their financial struggles loomed like a storm cloud overhead. His daughter, Lily, was tucked away in her makeshift art corner, surrounded by paintbrushes and half-finished canvases. She had a gift, a bright spark that the world was yet to see, but as each day passed, Jack found it harder to shield her from the harshness of reality. Just then, Emma knocked on the door, her face radiating a warmth that pierced through Jack's cloud of desperation. She was a college student, eager to volunteer, and to help. As they exchanged pleasantries, Jack felt a flicker of hope. Maybe she could lighten his load. Maybe she could bring joy back into their home, wrapping it around them like a cozy blanket, but as the days turned into weeks, that hope morphed into an unexpected connection. Jack watched as Emma animatedly encouraged Lily's artistic spirit. With every stroke of Lily's brush, Jack saw life blossom within her. It was as if Emma held the keys to a locked door hidden in his daughter's heart. Their laughter floated through the house, mingling with the scent of freshly baked cookies Emma whipped up, filling every room with a sense of normalcy he thought was lost forever. Yet, amidst the growing bond, a dark shadow loomed, feeding Jack's insecurities. He couldn't shake the feeling that their lives were mismatched. Emma's bright-eyed optimism clashed painfully with his prideful struggle. When Jack overheard Emma's call to her parents, the words "a poor living situation" pierced him like a knife. Fear gripped his heart, telling him he couldn't provide for her the way she deserved. Would they pull her out of their home just because he could barely keep the lights on? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. That Saturday, the music festival came alive in their small town, a tapestry of community wrapped in jazz and laughter. Families gathered, sharing food, smiles, and stories under the sun's golden rays. For a moment, Jack felt the warmth of unity, the love that pulsed through their neighborhood. Encouraged by a concertgoer's kind words, Jack couldn't help but hope that maybe, just maybe, he belonged. That it all came to a head when Emma confronted him by the Ferris wheel, her voice steady yet laced with concern. "Jack, I know things are tough. But you have to let me in. You can't keep pushing me away." Her eyes searched his, and Jack felt the weight of his pride suffocating him. Caught in the moment, Jack faced a choice: hold tightly to his mask of strength or unravel it and allow himself the vulnerability he craved. As laughter erupted around them and the joyful music played on, Jack stood frozen, heart pounding. Could he finally accept the help offered? Would he risk everything for the chance to heal his family? As the colors of the festival danced before him, despair and hope wrestled within. He was on the edge of heartbreak or redemption. What would he choose? The evening air hummed with excitement as Jack stood beside Emma near the Ferris wheel, his heart racing like the carnival rides behind them. For a moment, the world blurred around him: the twinkling lights of the festival, the joyous laughter, even Lily's delighted squeals faded away. It was just him and Emma. This fierce determination in her eyes caught him off guard, igniting something deep within. "Jack," she pleaded, "you're not alone in this." He wanted to believe her, to let go of the heavy armor he'd worn for so long. The weight of single parenthood felt unbearable, every struggle compounded by his desperate need to appear strong for Lily. But as he looked into Emma's eyes, filled with genuine care, the dam inside him threatened to break. "I'm scared, Emma," he heard himself say, his voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know what I can offer you. This isn't the life you should be stepping into." Emma took a step closer, the warmth of her presence steadying him, a lighthouse amidst his tumultuous sea. "It's not about what you think you can offer. It's about what we can build together." This isn't charity, it's community. As she spoke, memories flooded back, long nights spent fretting over bills, moments of shared laughter with Lily fading into shadows of worry. Jack shut his eyes, forcing himself to inhale as if the fresh air could clear his mind. Lily needs this, Jack. Emma added softly, sensing the turmoil swirling within him. And honestly, so do you. The truth of her words hit him like a jolt. He had fought tooth and nail to create a stable life for his daughter, but he had also unknowingly surrounded himself in solitude. He made the decision to keep everyone, even those who could help, at arm's length. Could he really change that? Jack opened his eyes to see Emma waiting patiently. The festival music sagged into a softer tune, the backdrop of swirling lights casting a magical glow around them. Yet, uncertainties swirling in Jack's mind still held him captive. Before he could respond, a loud cheer erupted from the crowd as someone released a handful of colorful balloons into the night sky. Suddenly, a string of thoughts followed. Could Emma really understand the intricacies of their struggle? Could they trust each other enough to build something new out of this chaos? With every ounce of hope, Jack glanced towards the heights of the Ferris wheel, the shimmering ascent almost reflective of his own climbing emotions. What if I fail you both? What if this all comes crashing down? The vulnerability in his voice surprised even him, but it was true. All he had built felt exceptionally fragile. Emma gently placed her hand over his. You won. Every step you take is a step towards something brighter. It's not about the destination, Jack. It's about the journey together. As their hands lingered, warmth spread through him. For the first time, Jack felt the cold walls around his heart beginning to thaw. Maybe this was the moment he could choose trust over isolation. But just as Jack felt a flicker of hope, a sudden voice cut through the festive atmosphere. Jack! It was Lily, rushing toward them. Her beaming face was a mix of delight and excitement as she clutched a painting she had made at the festival. Jack turned to look at Emma, who smiled back, a knowing look exchanged between them. Could they truly forge a path ahead, together, through the uncertainties? Just as he opened his mouth to respond to Emma, the crowd erupted into applause, and Jack's heart raced in tandem with the ongoing chaos around him. Suddenly, a new voice entered the fray, the unmistakable tone of Lily's joy and the call of an unexpected visitor. Jack! You need to see this. I think his heart skipped a beat, as he braced himself not for what Lily had to show him, but for the reality of what was unfolding right before him. What was he about to discover? Jack turned to Lily, whose eyes sparkled with excitement. This is amazing! She exclaimed, thrusting the painting into his hands. It was a burst of color, swirls of yellow, blue, and red that captured a whimsical world where anything was possible. He felt his heart swell as he looked down at the artwork. You made this? He asked, struggling to contain the pride that threatened to spill over. She nodded vigorously, her pigtails bouncing with enthusiasm. I did it all by myself. It's us at the fair. Just then, an air of spontaneity surrounded them, as if the buzzing carnival held secrets waiting to be uncovered. Jack looked at Emma, who was observing Lily with a soft smile, and his heart did a little dance. Here was this woman, ready to step into their lives, into his life, and it felt strangely comforting. Can we go on the Ferris wheel next? Lily chirped, bouncing on her toes. Jack felt his thoughts collide. The Ferris wheel was high, symbolizing not just a ride but the uncertainty that loomed over them all. Yet, the thrill in Lily's voice pulled him in. Sure, he said, surprising even himself. He met Emma's gaze again, and this time he saw encouragement shimmering in her eyes. Let us do it. As they made their way through the bustling crowd, Jack couldn't help but feel the warmth of community wrapping around him. Children ran past, families shared cotton candy, and laughter intermingled with the sounds of carnival games. Jack squeezed Emma's hand, feeling emboldened with each step. When they reached the Ferris wheel, the lights twinkled against the night sky like stars trapped in glass. Jack glanced at Lily, who stared up in awe, her little mouth forming a perfect O. He parted the crowd, ushering them to the waiting gondola, his heart racing with a mix of anxiety and excitement. As the ride began its ascent, Jack felt a rush of vulnerability. He finally had someone by his side who understood him not just in words but through shared moments like these. Soon, they reached the top, and a panoramic view of the festival stretched out before them, the sounds below fading into a serene hum. "Look, Daddy. Everything is so tiny." Lily squealed, her delight infectious. Emma laughed, and Jack found himself joining in, feeling the heaviness in his chest lift just a bit more. It felt surreal. Maybe they could actually do this. "Just like life," Emma said, glancing at him, "sometimes you have to go up high to see the bigger picture." Jack swallowed hard, her words sinking in. Each moment spent with them felt like a step toward uncharted territory, a place where trust began to bloom. But beneath that blooming trust lay the flickering shadow of his fears. What if he wasn't enough? What if, when the ride came down and the lights dimmed, it all fell apart? Before he could voice his thoughts, the ride started its descent, the rush of wind whipping against them. He turned his gaze to the horizon, illuminated with carnival lights, and in a soft whisper, he asked himself if he was ready to let the fear of falling keep him grounded or if it was time to soar. Lily jumped up and down, her laughter filling the air like music. "That was so much fun, Daddy. Can we do it again?" Jack couldn't help but smile. "We will, sweetheart." His resolve strengthened. This was only the beginning. As they stepped off the gondola, Jack looked at Emma, and he saw everything he had been afraid to admit. He wanted to see where this journey could take them. But as his feet touched solid ground, a familiar voice called out from the crowd. "Jack! Wait!" His heart raced again as he spotted a figure weaving through the throngs of people. Who could it be? Jack's eyes widened. Was it someone from his past, or just another twist on this roller coaster night? Jack turned abruptly, and a wave of emotions crashed over him as the voice echoed across the festival grounds. It was unmistakable, a voice he hadn't heard in years. The laughter of children and the distant sound of carnival music faded into a dull roar as recognition washed over him. "Jack!" The voice called again, more insistent this time. He locked eyes with Emma, her brow furrowing in concern. Lily caught the tension and paused, her small frame shadowed by the flickering lights of the fair. "Who is it, Daddy?" Lily's innocent question hung in the air, a poignant reminder of the life Jack had built since the stormy past. His stomach knotted as he turned back to face the approaching figure. It was Sarah, his high school sweetheart. She looked the same and yet different, more mature, perhaps, but still the serendipitous girl he once knew. Her hair flowed freely, contrasting sharply with the bustle around her. For a moment, memories surged, those carefree days marked by laughter and dream-filled nights. "Jack! I can't believe it's you!" she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with recognition. "Sarah!" His voice barely escaped his lips, thick with disbelief. She stepped closer, and the chaos of the carnival faded to nothing but the blood roaring in Jack's ears. "What are you doing here?" It was a question laced with so much history. He felt the weight of their shared past pressing in, anxious at how it might affect the fragile happiness he had started to build with Emma and Lily. "I'm back in town for a while," she said, glancing at Lily, who had taken a step back, clutching Jack's hand with both of hers. "I just had to come see if it was really you. You look great." Jack forced a smile, one that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Thanks, you too." He turned slightly to include Emma in the conversation, the woman who was currently sharing bright moments with him. "This is Emma and my daughter, Lily." "Nice to meet you both," Sarah said politely, though her gaze lingered on Jack, scrutinizing his reaction. Lily, ever the curious child, piped up. "Do you know my daddy?" Jack felt his heart race as conflicting emotions swirled inside him. He had worked so hard to move on, to let go of the past, but here it was, staring him right in the face. "I used to know him a long time ago," Sarah replied, her voice softening. "Can we go get cotton candy?" Lily interrupted, her innocence shattering the tension in the air. "Sure, sweetheart. Just give me a moment, Jack said, squeezing her hand before releasing it. He realized the weight of the choice he had to make, a reunion that felt both welcoming and dangerous. Sarah started again. I didn't mean to interrupt your fun. I just wanted to check in, and he clenched his jaw, unwilling to let the past unfold in front of Emma and Lily. We're happy here. I'm happy. Before he could finish, a shout erupted from the carnival games. A balloon vendor lost his grip, and a burst of colorful balloons soared into the air. Lily's delighted laughter broke through the moment, a sound bright enough to light up even the darkest corners of Jack's conflicted heart. Sarah smiled gently at the little girl. She's precious. Yes, she is, Jack replied, steeling himself. I should take her for cotton candy. Of course, Sarah said, sensing his boundary. It was good to see you, Jack. Really? Jack felt the tension shift as Sarah stepped back, her departure tinged with a finality he wished he could ignore. But as he turned toward Emma, he was caught in a web of uncertainty. Did he want to revisit what had been, or was he ready to embrace what could be? Are you okay? Emma asked quietly, concern etched in her features. I don't know, Jack admitted, the words tumbling out before he could stop them. Just then, a sudden thought gripped him. What if Sarah wasn't just an echo from the past, but a storm brewing with answers he wasn't sure he wanted? As they walked towards the cotton candy booth, Jack glanced back one last time at Sarah, who stood watching him, an unreadable expression on her face. There was so much unresolved between them. Was he ready to confront it? The night felt charged with possibility and fear, and Jack knew he would have to face his past sooner or later. With every step, he wondered what the night would bring, and not just in laughter or cotton candy. Emma squeezed his hand, and Jack steeled himself. What would happen if Sarah stepped into their lives again? Lily tugged at Jack's sleeve, breaking the spell of his swirling thoughts. Daddy, can we get the big pink one? She squeaked, pointing excitedly at a cloud of cotton candy protected behind the glass case. Yeah, of course, sweetie, Jack managed to respond, focusing on his daughter's vibrant smile. The line at the booth moved slowly, and each moment felt like a lifetime as he stole glances back at Sarah, who had retreated but not disappeared. The sound of laughter and spinning rides grew distant, eclipsed by the tightness gripping his chest. Do you? Emma started, her voice hesitant. Jack met her gaze, reading her request for reassurance. It's fine, he said, though his tone felt anything but stable. I just need to process. A moment passed, and he looked down at Lily, vigorously bouncing on her toes, as if the mere anticipation of sugary delight could banish the ghosts surrounding him. What do you want to do after this? He asked, attempting to redirect the weight in his heart. I want to go on the Ferris wheel. Her eyes gleamed with excitement, and Jack couldn't help but smile back. Okay, that sounds fun. Just then, the cotton candy vendor turned to them, scooping the massive pink mound expertly onto a stick. Handing it over, he grinned. Here you go, little lady. Lily squealed in delight, wrapping both hands around the fluffy treat. Daddy, look. She beamed, lifting it high. Jack watched her with a sense of pride mixed with an unsettling reminder of the past. Yeah, he replied softly, feeling a warmth that was quickly caught in his throat. Emma, sensing the dual currents of joy and worry ebbing through Jack, leaned closer. You know, whatever you remember about Sarah, it doesn't change what we have now. He turned to her, his heart pounding. But what if she wants to be in our lives? She knew me before. What if that part of me wants to reconnect? Emma's brow furrowed, but her voice remained steady. You have to be honest with yourself, Jack. What do you really want? I don't know anymore. He stared at Lily dancing with her cotton candy. I fought to build a life for us together. How do I let this affect that? He pondered, but the answer danced just out of reach. Words shared long ago with Sarah echoed in his mind, promises made about bright futures and growing old together. Wouldn't she think it was delusional, the way life had twisted, turning him into this man who now had a daughter. As if sensing the tension, Lily suddenly leaned against him, her head resting on his side. "Daddy, can we go now?" "Sure, just a minute longer," he said, wrapping his arm around her small shoulders, drawing strength from her trust. A laugh caught his attention, and he turned to see Sarah, now standing among the crowd but seeming oddly detached. She caught his gaze, and for a fleeting moment, they both acknowledged the connection that still tied them, a cable woven thick with nostalgia and longing. Emma squeezed Jack's hand again, grounding him. "Let us enjoy the night, what do you say?" "Let us go to the Ferris wheel," he said, trying to sound more certain. They started walking, but he couldn't shake the thoughts clouding his mind. Could he truly forget Sarah? Or was this just the beginning of a chapter he wasn't ready to face? As they approached the Ferris wheel, the bright lights twinkled like stars, each one somehow alive with new possibilities. Jack hesitated for a moment. What if Sarah stepped back in? What would that mean for Emma and Lily? He was about to reach for Emma's hand when he noticed Sarah glance over her shoulder, her expression unreadable but charged with an electric tension. "Daddy, look!" Lily shouted again, pointing toward the sky where fireworks began to explode in brilliant colors, seamlessly cutting through his thoughts. Jack stood frozen, heart racing, watching the sparks cascade. Did he want to hold on to what he had? Or would he find himself swept away in a past that might not even exist anymore? And before he could decide, a familiar figure stepped forward again, their eyes locked with his over the cheering crowd, his heart battling between caution and longing. What would happen if all these threads tangled together past and present and he couldn't find a way to cut one loose? Jack's heart raced, his breath caught between the quick bursts of color lighting up the sky above them. The fireworks reflected in Lily's wide eyes, her joy lighting up the corners of his tightly wound heart. He wanted nothing more than to stay in this moment, to exist among the laughter and warmth, but Sarah's presence loomed in the shadows just outside his peripheral vision. "Daddy!" Lily's voice pierced through his distracted thoughts, pulling him back to the present. "Can we go on now?" "Of course, Princess." Jack gently nudged Lily along, trying to focus on the spark of happiness in her face. They moved toward the Ferris wheel, each step heavier with his swirling emotions. He pushed thoughts of Sarah aside, promising himself he would deal with it later. Emma nudged him, concern etched across her brow. "Jack, you okay?" "Yeah, just processing things," he replied, forcing a smile. But the truth was, he felt every bit of that processing sitting like a stone in his stomach. He couldn't shake the feeling that a storm was brewing just out of sight. The three of them queued for the Ferris wheel, and Lily's excitement was infectious. She bounced on her feet, cotton candy clutched tightly in her little hands, her face a portrait of unfiltered joy. But as they climbed into the green gondola, seated together, Jack felt the weight of decisions pressing on his chest. The ride started to move, slowly at first. They ascended, rising higher into the night sky, and Jack tried to concentrate on the beauty of the carnival below. Bridges of lights, laughter wafting through the air, couples holding hands. The world appeared so uncomplicated from high above, but he could still see Sarah lingering at the edge of it all, a ghost in his heart. "Look, Daddy!" Lily squealed as they reached the top, her tiny hands waving at the blurred chaos below. "This is the best." "Yes, it is." Jack responded, glossing over the tightness in his voice. But in that moment, all he could think about was how to keep his family safe. There was a life he had built with Emma, a good life. And yet, the specter of Sarah hovered like mist, threatening to envelop everything beautiful in his world. Emma's voice broke through again, more firm now. "You need to talk to me. You can't just keep it all inside." He turned to her, his heart spilling open. I never expected to see Sarah again. It's like opening a floodgate I didn't want to touch. I'm scared, Em. Scared of what it might mean." "Scared of what?" "Of wanting her back." Emma's voice was calm, but Jack could hear the underlying tension. She looked into his eyes, searching for the truth. Scared it might unravel everything, he whispered, looking down at Lily, blissfully unaware of the turmoil swirling around them. She was safe, happy. That was all that mattered. But could it be that simple? The gondola dipped slightly, and he held Lily tighter as she giggled, joyfully unaffected by his inner battles. "Hey, look! Fireworks!" She pointed again, eyes sparkling with wonder. As the next explosion lit up the sky, Jack's heart pounded. The colorful lights matched the turmoil in his chest, bright yet overwhelming. Would he be able to guard this life he cherished so deeply? And would he even want to if Sarah continued to reach for a piece of it? Suddenly, the Ferris wheel stopped, suspended at the peak. Silence fell but for the distant crackle of fireworks. Jack felt it then, the tension of what was left unsaid, a raw nerve that begged for release. He turned to Emma, ready for truth to spill out his fears, his regrets. Before he could find his words, he caught movement below. Sarah's form imprinted in his mind again, standing alone in the thrumming life of the fair. He couldn't tell if she was looking at him, but that single moment shook him. As emotion swelled, Jack realized he was standing on the edge of a decision. The fear could become a prison, or what am I going to do? He murmured, knowing deep down the answer was coming. Just as realization struck, he made a choice, one that would send ripples through everything he built. But what if the ripples were waves? Would he lose everything, or could he find a way to hold on? The moment of truth was approaching, and as the fireworks continued to illuminate the night sky, Jack had to decide which path he would take. As the Ferris wheel swayed gently in the wind, suspended at its peak, Jack's heart raced faster than ever. The distant bursts of fireworks below faded to white noise, overshadowed by the weight of his own thoughts. He glanced at Lily, her little face illuminated by color and wonder, completely absorbed in the spectacle. It was easy for him to smile for her, but deep down, chaos brewed. "Daddy?" Lily turned, the innocence of her question piercing through the fog of his mind. "Are we going to the stars?" Her words struck him like a bolt of lightning. "Maybe we are," he said softly, forcing a chuckle. The stars didn't quite feel reachable anymore. They felt like a cruel joke, shimmering just out of touch while reality yanked him back into uncertainty. Emma's voice broke through again, more urgent this time. "Jack, please." The plea in her tone cut through his hesitation. He searched her eyes, wanting to quell her worry, but also wanting to confess the storm brewing inside him. I don't know how to handle this." "Handle what?" "Honestly, I don't think you can avoid Sarah forever. She's here now. Just talk to me." Tension coiled tighter, and Jack knew silence could no longer be his shield. The weight of their unaddressed issues hung heavy in the air, wrapping around him like a suffocating fog. "I don't want to hurt you," he admitted, taking a deep breath. "Then don't talk instead," Emma urged, her face hardening with resolve. He nodded, pushing down the panic rising in him. Words tangled in his throat, but facing the truth became non-negotiable. He had to find out how to navigate this. "It's just I still think about Sarah. She was my first love, you know. Seeing her again is triggering all these old feelings, things I thought were buried. If I talk to her, what if it complicates everything? Or it clears things up," Emma countered, her voice steady yet edged with concern. Jack looked again at Lily, giggling with pure delight. All that mattered was this moment with her. But the urge to unearth his past clashed with the need to protect his present. What if she wants something from me? Something I can't give? "You have to figure that out," Emma replied softly. "You can't keep living for the what-ifs." Finally, they descended from the heights of the Ferris wheel, leaving the glow of lights behind them. Jack's hands were clammy, the uncertainty brimming alongside an urge to follow through. Whatever he had to face lay waiting. As they stepped off, there stood Sarah, illuminated by the carnival lights, beautiful, achingly familiar. She seemed to be waiting just as he had been waiting, to feel something, a longing that sat tethered in his chest. Jack froze, a lump rising again. The vibrant joy he'd shared moments ago felt eclipsed by the reality of her presence. Should he step toward her? Jack. Lily called, pulling him from his paralysis. Are we going to see her? There was something innocent in her voice, something he couldn't ignore. He didn't want to break Lily's experience, the simplified happiness of the night, but could he really just walk away? Let us go say hi, he whispered, surprised by the steadiness he found within himself. Maybe it was easier to dive deep than to hold his breath. As they approached, Sarah turned, recognition dawning in her eyes. Jack's heart stuttered, the energy of the fair fading into silence as the past rushed to meet him. All the choices he'd made, all the dreams he'd built were moments ago crystal clear. Now, they felt like delicate glass, one misstep away from shattering. Just as Sarah opened her mouth to speak, Jack took a breath, knowing this conversation would either break or finally bring clarity, but would it truly illuminate their path forward, or would it only deepen the shadows? Jack took a faltering step toward Sarah, the bright lights of the carnival swirling around them, but all he could see was her. The spark in her eyes brought back memories of youth and carefree days, tangled with the weight of decisions he had made since. This moment stretched thin, the air thick with unspoken words. Jack, Sarah breathed, her voice barely above a whisper. Familiar yet foreign, it curled around his apprehension like smoke. He could see the same dreams reflected in her gaze, the ones they had whispered about under the stars, the plans fizzled out by the realities of growing up. Sarah, he managed, his voice shaky, an echo of the boy he used to be. Lily, delight dancing in her eyes, tugged at his hand. Who is this? Sarah asked, the warmth in her tone breaking the ice. This is my daughter, Lily, Jack replied. He felt a surge of pride as he looked down at her, wishing to center himself in this spiral of emotions. Lily, this is an old friend. Hi, Lily. Sarah smiled, crouching a little to meet her level. Jack watched the two interact, the innocent connection warming the chill in his heart. Do you remember the stars? Lily asked suddenly, her wide eyes switching from Jack to Sarah. Stunned, Jack blinked. Would Lily's innocent question force him to face the reality he feared? But Sarah, wise and graceful even in this moment, responded with ease. I do. We made wishes on them, remember? Yes. Can we make wishes right now? The pure excitement on Lily's face softened the tension between Jack and Sarah, a small morsel of light in what felt like a brewing storm. He admired the way Sarah interacted with Lily, their bond creating an unexpected richness to the conversation. Of course. You must have a super special wish if you're at the fair on a beautiful night like this, Sarah said, and Lily giggled at the thought before looking up at Jack, her eyes sparkling. Jack's chest tightened. Lily, maybe you can share your wish later, he said, his voice dropping as he turned back to Sarah. The world faded into the background. But what are you doing here? He asked, struggling with his words, the boundary of familiarity and alienation blurring like the carnival lights. Sarah took a breath, her expression shifting to one of sincerity. I'm home for a little while, visiting family. It felt strange to come back without seeing you. Jack nodded, understanding the pull of homecoming. It's a strange world right now. So much has changed, he said quietly. Their lives had forked into different paths, yet here they were, tangled again by fate's design. Yeah, it has, Sarah agreed. Their shared history hung in the air between them. But maybe it's not too late to talk about everything. Jack felt the tension of the moment crackle. Could he really open that door? He imagined it, new understandings, burdens lifted, or perhaps deeper entanglements. Everything? He echoed, his voice barely above the sounds of laughter and cheers. Yeah. About us, about what happened, Sarah said, her eyes searching his. He swallowed hard, a wave of emotion threatening to crash over him. Daddy. Lily's small voice chimed in again, piercing through the tension. Can we go on the swings? Jack was momentarily jolted back to the present. He glanced at Emma, who stood on the periphery, waiting with worry etched on her brow. The choice ahead loomed large. Would he step forward into the unknown, risk it all, or retreat into safety? "Sure, sweetie," Jack finally responded, his voice steadier than it felt. "Let us go on the swings." As he took Lily's hand, he could feel Sarah's gaze on him, like a tether he couldn't quite break. The laughter of the fair surrounded them, but deep down, Jack sensed his own heart racing. "Wait," Sarah said, her voice stopping him short. "Can we talk later? Away from all this?" Jack hesitated, the weight of her request settling heavily on him. He nodded at last, unsure of what would come next. As they walked away from Sarah, Jack felt the thread connecting them tighten, pulling him inexorably toward a conversation he wasn't sure he was ready to have. What would they uncover in that conversation? Would it shatter the illusions he had crafted or bring unexpected revelations? The swings creaked gently as they settled into motion, the cool breeze weaving through Jack's hair. Lily squealed with joy, her laughter dancing above the other sounds of the carnival. Jack tried to focus on her happiness, but the shadows of the past lingered at the edges of his mind. Each joyful push was like a reminder of all that was left unsaid, all that had been unresolved. "Higher, Daddy. I want to go higher." Lily's voice rang out, full of life. Jack pushed her higher, trying to drown out the apprehension that refused to leave him alone. His gaze flickered back to where Sarah had stood, alone in the vibrant chaos of swirling lights. She seemed larger than life, a tapestry of memories and what-ifs intricately woven into his heart. The connection they once shared clawed at him. Lily shrieked again, the sound jolting him from his thoughts. "Look, I can almost touch the moon." Jack smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "You're getting close, sweetie," he said, his heart heavy. He could picture her small hand grasping at the stars, innocent dreams unfurling in the night. "Will you make a wish with me?" she asked, her eyes sparkling like a treasure trove waiting to be unlocked. "Just like Aunt Sarah said." Forcing a grin, Jack nodded. "Okay, let's make one together." He held her tiny hands between his, feeling the warmth of her small palms. "On 3. Lily counted down with full enthusiasm. 1, 2, 3. They both closed their eyes, and Jack made a silent wish. It was a simple one: hope. Hope for a conversation that brought clarity, hope for the future, hope that past mistakes wouldn't cruelly repeat themselves. When he opened his eyes, there were tears threatening to spill as he watched Lily's face brighten. "What did you wish for?" she asked, bouncing up and down on the swing. "Just a secret," he replied, keeping it vague. He wanted to protect her from the whirlwind of emotions swirling in him. "Secrets are the best. I think they're sparkly." She giggled. Jack chuckled, grateful for her innocent outlook. But the joy in his heart was dimmed by the tumult within. He longed to dive into the depths of those old memories, to understand what had gone wrong between him and Sarah. Each second that passed felt more fragile, encasing him in a bubble of yearning and fear. Soon the swings came to a stop, and Lily hopped off, her excitement undeterred. "Let us go see the clown. He might have balloons." As they walked away, the carnival lights twinkled around them. Jack felt a tug in his chest, pulling him back toward Sarah. He spotted her now, her laughter mingling with the crowd. She seemed at ease, a part of it all. The sight sent another wave of longing crashing over him. "Can we eat cotton candy first?" Lily interrupted Jack's thoughts, running toward the vendor. As he followed, the questions swirled relentlessly. What if this was his last chance to resolve everything, to bring closure? When they reached the stall, Jack took a deep breath, eyeing the colorful treat that practically pulsed with memories of simpler times. And as they bagged the sugary clouds, he caught sight of Sarah once again, standing at the edge of the fairground. This time, her gaze met his. His heart raced. She smiled softly, but it was like a conversation in itself, an unspoken promise. "Daddy, can we go see the Ferris wheel?" Lily begged, pulling him closer to the thrumming heart of the carnival. A choice lay before him, heavy as lead. Did he take this moment to forge ahead, leaving the past behind, or would he step back and face the unresolved? Each breath felt charged, every heartbeat echoed the rhythm of fear and hope. "Lily," he began slowly, "what would you think if we found Aunt Sarah first?" Her eyes widened with excitement, and Jack felt the fragile thread of new beginnings pulling him forward. How would it feel to step into that conversation he had avoided for so long? Would it bring answers or complications? As they turned, they started making their way back. Jack's heart thudded with equal parts dread and anticipation, hoping that, this time, maybe he'd find the courage he needed. What would Sarah say? Would he truly be ready for the answers to his lingering questions? Jack inhaled deeply, pushing through the whirlwind of emotions as they approached Sarah, who stood waiting with an air of uncertainty mixed with hope. The vibrant lights of the carnival flickered, casting soft shadows around them, as if the universe paused to witness this moment. The air felt electric. "Sarah," he managed to say, the weight of the past heavy across his tongue. There was a mix of familiarity and apprehension in his voice. "I am glad to see you." The words felt strangely inadequate, but they were all he could muster in that moment. Her smile was gentle, but Jack sensed the underlying tension. "Jack, can we just talk?" He interrupted, running a hand through his hair, feeling the tension tighten in his chest. "I want to clear the air." The plea in his voice was unmistakable, a yearning for closure echoing in the night. Lily, with her cotton candy in hand, looked up at them, blissfully unaware of the deeper currents swirling between the adults. "Are you two going to make wishes together?" she asked, her innocent eyes darting from Jack to Sarah. Sarah knelt to Lily's level. "We can make wishes for sure, sweetheart, if your dad agrees," she said, her voice soft and inviting. The juxtaposition filled Jack's heart with warmth. Here was Sarah, the girl he once loved, gently appealing to his daughter, bringing back fragments of their shared history, the carefree joys, the dreams woven under starlit skies. But also stirrings of a deeper conversation that lay ahead. "Let us make wishes," Jack said, finding a surprising tranquility trickling through him. "But let us step away just a little." With that, they shifted aside, leaving the pulsing crowd behind, finding a small quiet space illuminated by twinkling lights, the sounds muffled but still vibrant. The tension was palpable, and Jack felt it building, a bridge back to a time he thought he had buried in the past. That he faced Sarah, heart racing, and noticed a flicker of vulnerability in her eyes. "I didn't expect to see you," he began, barely able to keep his voice steady. "So much time has passed, I know," she responded, her voice soft, filled with unspoken affection and maybe, just maybe, a hint of regret. I've missed you. I've missed us." Jack swallowed hard, feeling as though the ground shifted beneath him. "I can't pretend that seeing you doesn't bring up a million feelings." He glanced at Lily, who was blissfully swaying, pretending to catch the stars. "But what about Lily? She's my world now." A hint of sadness crossed Sarah's face, but it was accompanied by resolve. "I understand, Jack. I really do. I never meant to change your life, and I don't want to disrupt what you've built. I just want to acknowledge what we had, to be part of the story, somehow. Not to take over, just to honor the past." "Honor the past?" he echoed, still tangled with uncertainty. "How? It feels complicated." "I get that. It's complicated for me, too. But we owe it to ourselves to see how we can fit back into each other's lives," she said, her sincerity wrapping around his doubts. "Part of that is just stepping into the light of honesty." Her words rattled him. Knots twisted in his stomach as he thought about his life with Emma, all the laughter and moments that felt like magic had transformed him. "I've forged something new, Sarah. A life built on hope for Lily. And I respect that," Sarah replied firmly. "But old wounds don't just vanish. They need tending. You deserve closure, Jack." He studied her, the weight of each choice pressing down on him. What if we're just opening old doors that are better left closed? Or maybe we're stepping into a new chapter, she countered gently, her voice filled with a kind of warmth that reminded him of those lost summers. It doesn't have to be about choosing between me and what you have. It can be about understanding the past, so you can truly embrace the present. Jack looked back at Lily, who was lost in her own world filled with cotton candy dreams, laughter ringing like the sweetest song. You're right. I can't pretend that the past didn't shape me. But it scares me. I can't risk losing what I have. We can handle it together, Jack. Just be honest with me, with yourself, and with Emma, she urged, her gaze steady. You owe it to all of us. Emma deserves to know, Jack said, a wave of realization washing over him. He could feel the warmth between everyone, the delicate threads connecting Lily and Sarah, each a testament to love lost but never forgotten. Let us go back, together, he said suddenly, the decision crystallizing within him. I'll talk to Emma. If anything, I owe her the truth. As they turned to walk back, he felt hope flicker inside him like the festival lights around them. This could be the beginning of healing, a chance to weave their separate lives into a new tapestry that honored the past yet embraced the present. Let us make wishes as we go, he suggested brightly to Lily, his daughter's infectious joy lifting the heavy uncertainty. Jack felt renewed purpose strumming in his chest with each step, with Sarah beside him and Lily in front, laughter bubbled over. They laughed for wishes, for possibilities, claiming the night that was still ripe with potential. And as they moved forward together, side by side, Jack began to believe that clarity was possible, that new beginnings awaited him, ready to blossom from the heart of uncertainty. Now, more than ever, he felt the unyielding heartbeat of family guiding him through every storm, illuminating the path to redemption and joy. But the question still lingered overhead like the fireworks above. What would the story hold as the past integrated seamlessly into their new life of hope and trust? This was just the beginning, and Jack knew, with every heartbeat, that he was ready for whatever came next. If you're feeling the transformation in every word, if Jack's journey resonates with you, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every click counts. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can inspire and uplift those around us.